I say that to Nick all the time. He's like, dude, can you get your shit together? And I'm like, I'm just a baby. And he's like, Ashley, I'm just a baby.
I would punt kick your ass.
Welcome back to Chaotically Bookish. My name is Ashley, and I'm just a baby.
And my name is Annabelle, and I'm her fucking mother.
She's gonna punt me.
I'm gonna punt kick you.
Anyway, this week we're gonna be talking about reader spaces.
Very important.
A very important topic. Hopefully we can still keep it. Knowing us, it's still gonna be chaotic.
Of course. We're gonna start talking about ass or something.
Oh my god. That's all we know.
That's all we know.
That's all we know how to do.
Reader spaces, my butt.
Jesus.
What are you reading right now?
I'm reading The Love Hypothesis.
I liked that book.
I know you did. A lot of people do.
Or they hate it.
So far, I'm like, what am I? I'm going to say I'm like halfway through chapter 2 because chapter 2 is fucking long and I'm enjoying it.
It's a slow start from what I remember. It was a slow start.
I like the grumpy ex-sunshine vibes I'm getting.
Grumpy ex-sunshine, I think, is my favorite trope.
Honestly, I think so too. I'm enjoying it. I think it's cute.
I saw this TikTok and someone's like, yeah, I know there's grumpy ex-sunshine and there's like sunshine ex-sunshine, but where's my grumpy ex-grumpy? Ooh. Just two miserable people.
You love to see it.
Just two mopey, miserable people who hate the world except each other.
Can you imagine like two Kazbreckers?
That sounds like a nightmare.
Oh my God. I would not be able to tolerate it, I don't think.
I would. I love that shit. That's like half the books I read. I'm just like grumpy people being sad and mopey.
You're like, I relate.
Well, Bella and Edward are definitely grumpy ex-grumpy.
Oh, 100%. God. Broody ex-broody.
Well, I know you also read Controversy Time.
Oh, here we go. We're getting
You
it.
read a recent Book Talk Booksta fave. Either fave or hatred. The War of Two Queens by Jennifer L. Armentrout.
I did. I even like, before I saw any of the controversy, I was like, I had ordered it and I was like, it's going to take fucking forever to get here because they come from Ontario. We live in BC. It takes like 2 weeks. So I went straight to the store because the bookstore had 10 copies. As of 10 a.m., as of opening, they had 10 copies. And I was like, great, I'm on my way. I get there at 10:15. There are 2 copies remaining and one other girl. And we just kind of stared each other down.
So do the employees of chapters like steal the books? I mean, or like put them behind like how we used to do with the Schmizni Snore?
I guess they must. Because like I was actually surprised because I said that I don't quite enjoy going into stores right when they open because they're so quiet and I don't want like workers staring at me while I try to do my thing. And but I walked in and it was quite busy for 10 a.m. on like a Wednesday or a Tuesday or whatever it was.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe.
Because we used to do that when we worked at the...
Oh, 100%. We would put shit aside every morning. Like, whatever.
Every time shipment came in, we would be like, oh, well, I want that.
The entirety of the back of the cash register was covered in just shit that we were all going to buy.
Just past purchases.
Oh, my God. I'll never forget when the Christopher Robin plush came in. The Winnie the Pooh plush. And every single person, I was so grateful that I was opening that morning.
You got all of them, didn't you?
Yeah, I was only going to get Winnie the Pooh because I loved Winnie the Pooh growing up. It meant something special. So I was like, I'm going to get Winnie the Pooh. I put that aside and then I unpack Piglet. And I was like, fuck. And then I unpacked Tigger. And I was like, ah, shit. And then I was like, can't not get Eeyore.
Yeah, you can't leave one out.
And then I got like
Kanga.
I found, so we didn't get Kanga.
No, we didn't get her.
None of the Canadian stores
Canada,
did. I was in Rome and she was in the bargain bin.
Oh my God.
So I bought her, but she's now on display in my room because she's hard to display. She's fucking huge.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen her.
I'll send you a picture.
I want to see her, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, moral of the story.
Anyway, moral of the story that when you work at a bookstore, you get the perks.
Apparently you get the perks.
But back to the controversy.
Yeah. So I read it. I was struggling with whether or not I wanted to because I was seeing so much anger about it, and that kind of put me off. Because I'm very like I talked about, I'm very easily influenced. But it was like my boyfriend and you. But like Nick was like, why don't you read it and figure it out for yourself?
Yeah.
Like, don't read any reviews, don't watch any TikToks, don't ask about it. He's like, figure out how you feel about it. He's like, and then go from there. And I was like, okay.
For those who don't know and aren't involved, though I really doubt it if you're listening to this podcast, you're aware of the bookish
You
community.
have to be.
Jennifer L. Armentrout released her 4th book in the series From Blood and Ash, and it came out to extremely negative reviews because I'm not going to spoil it. Wait, should we spoil it?
I don't really think it's a spoiler.
No, because it's out there.
There's a sex scene in it that angered a lot of people.
I don't even know if it's the sex scene so
No?
much as like the relationship dynamic that really switcherooty. Spoiler alert, we will mention something. If you want to read the books and you really don't want to go in, and maybe skip like 5 minutes.
I almost would argue that it's barely a spoiler because the art and everyone talks about it so freely.
That's true.
Like if I say what it is and you haven't read the book, you're not going to know what it is. And
No,
then I
that's
just won't
true.
go into detail.
Yeah, that's true.
So the whole joining scene had a ton of controversy. I guess it's a spoiler if I say that it's even in it.
Yeah.
But I feel like she set up this particular scene from the second book. And it's like that classic, you know, if someone says, "Hey, there's a gun on the wall," it has to go off within the
Yeah.
next couple pages, right? So she said there's such thing as a joining. So obviously there had to be a joining.
Well, yeah, she was like sharing art about it like days before the release.
Yep. When she was releasing quotes of the book, she released a quote from that scene. And so everyone knew.
Yeah.
They're like,
so
oh, yeah.
I don't understand why everyone freaked out about it.
And everyone was rooting for it.
And then they flipped the script.
But then they flipped the script for reasons that should make sense, but they've chosen to do it for the wrong reasons, I think we'd both argue. So there is a lot of controversy, which we're going to get into because that's what we're talking about is reader spaces.
Yeah.
But yeah, I read the book for me, and I saw all the problems with it because there's a lot.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
I mean, just for the spicy readers, was the sex scene good?
Yeah. But we've talked about on our spicy book episode, we talked about the From Blood and Ash sex scenes because they're written well.
Yeah.
It's a controversial book series. Sex scenes are written well. So the joining, it was I think it was written well. It was sort of it wasn't fade to black, but it kind of was. So it wasn't aggressively descriptive.
A lot of people were pissed off about that too.
I'm not pissed off about it. I don't know how I feel about it. I think everyone was expecting something absolutely crazy, you know, like Poppy taking it up the ass. I think everyone expected Poppy to take it up the ass. And
I mean, I wanted Castile to take it up the ass. In all honesty.
So, and that you don't know if that happens. It's the way it's described. It's like she doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't know who's where, who's doing what,
who's taking it up the ass.
who's taking it up the ass. So, I don't know. I go back and forth on whether or not I liked that or not. I don't know how to feel. I think when I pictured the joining, I pictured like a proper threesome, like everyone enjoying everyone.
Didn't seem that way.
And it just didn't seem that way. But I obviously it's the way it's written. I think it's designed so that it doesn't.
Which was my harsh no. Like what I said last time, I'm just like, if everyone is not fucking each other, it's not a threesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know.
So the controversy with the reader spaces thing that's going on right now is that Miss JLA has been definitely inserting herself in places she doesn't belong.
Which is so funny because she is the queen of everyone's always like, well, how do you pronounce this name, or who does this who looks like this or whatever? And she's like, once I give you the book, it's all up to interpretation. I'm not going to tell you how to properly pronounce something because I want it to be your interpretation, however you see the book, however you see the characters, however you want to pronounce stuff.
Yeah.
So for her to start gaslighting people and inserting herself into their reading experience, I was like, where the fuck did that come from?
Yeah, but JLA I feel like has a history of gaslighting people.
Oh, I'm sure.
I think for me, it started out with her whole Poppy is plus size, Poppy is not plus size, question mark, question mark, question mark. And it never made sense to me because she claimed that Poppy is plus sized, but then continued to share art
Of her being skinny.
And I'm not saying that artists aren't allowed to draw whatever the fuck they want to draw, but as an author,
Yeah.
it's kind of your job to be maintaining what's like what is canon, what is not canon. You can't have representation and then just be like, but only if you want it to be representation.
Yeah. I reread the entire series before The War of Two Queens came out, and I was looking for it. I was looking because I knew I always pictured Poppy as plus sized, so I was surprised when people were like, "No, she's not," and I was like, I know personally when I read, I disregard any description. Like I'll picture people any way I fucking want to.
Yeah.
And so I was like, maybe I'm wrong. I went looking for it, and it's like quite rare. She never strictly mentions like she's plus size. She'll just say like more curvy here, or like a dip in my hip here, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get you're trying to, I don't know what you're trying to do, honestly.
No.
But I don't know. I think there was a more descriptive way to do it, or a more proper way to do it.
Yeah, and I know a lot of there's a huge thing on TikTok of people being like, if your description of the character doesn't aid in like furthering the plot, I don't want to hear it. And I'm like, no, that's not okay, because representation matters.
100%.
And like I could even say like one of our beloved plus size characters, Nina Zenek.
Yeah.
I think Lee Bardugo could have done more to describe her as plus size. You know, carved with a generous hand is great and beautiful writing, and I love that. But, you know, saying she was a plus sized woman would have been really nice to hear.
I feel like they're trying to be careful because they don't want to offend people. But like,
Offend people how though?
I don't know. Because, like, I guess if they describe a plus size woman in the wrong way, but it's like, then do your research.
Yeah.
Just do
And
your
also,
research.
guys, fat is not a bad word. It's not. You know, coming from a fat person myself, it's not a bad word. It's just a descriptor. And us liaisoning those words together isn't great. Fat doesn't mean ugly. It just means fat.
It's how society designed that word.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
definitely.
It's how they
But
took that word.
JLA, going back to that, like she would continue to post all this art of Poppy being thin, or Poppy being just curvy enough, or curvy in all the right places.
All the right places.
And it's just like, that's not what plus size means. And, you know, readers were rightfully upset. And then she like backtracked and was like, well, you know, it's the artist's interpretation, and I'll never tell people what is and isn't like okay, and they can see my world the way they want to see my world. And it's like, well, then you don't get to benefit from the fact that your main character is plus size and you have representation and you're woke.
I feel like when it comes down to representation aspects, there needs to like kind of be an asterisk, because like everyone's obviously allowed their own interpretation, but when you start, you know, removing like this beautiful plus size character and designing her thin the way that, you know, you think she should appear or whatever, or even like taking a character, like I've seen people like lighten skin tones, and they're like, well, it's just how I pictured the character. And I'm like, well, okay, but no,
because that's the same thing she did with Castile.
Yeah.
And it's just like, she had the nerve to be like, hey, Castile's a person of color, but never like, first of all, person of color. What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
What is he? Is he Arab? Is he South Asian? Is he tan white?
Does he hang out in Florida?
Is
like
he Italian? Is he spicy white? Is he, not that I hate that term, spicy
white.
Fuck.
She, the only reason I know so much is because I've just read it. So whenever Poppy, because Poppy's very pale, whenever Poppy compares her skin tone to Castile,
which is a weird thing to do.
I know, because she's oh, I have a point. Remind me. She'll like hold his hand and she'll be like, he held his, like my pale hand in his like sand colored palm or whatever. So like he's like, or she'll be like, he's a couple shades darker than Poppy.
So he's white.
He's just like tan, I guess. I don't know. She's not explicit. So
he's just white.
So he's just white. But like, so something I've really noticed with skin tones, and like, tell me if this isn't even a thing, but she has this very big obsession when she writes to make note of skin tone very, 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 very frequently. Like she'll always be like, the color drained from his brown skin, or he touched his brown cheek, or like it's very constant. And I was like, but the only reason I was like, is this a red flag, is because she only does that, it seems, for the characters that are people of color.
Yeah.
And then like if someone's white, she's not gonna be like, they touched her like pale white skin, like never says that. But it's constant how often Poppy notes that Kieran has very dark skin.
This is my because it clearly, at least this is my interpretation of it, it says that JLA sees white people as normal and she sees people of color as exotic.
Yeah, that's definitely how it comes across in this descriptors. And I was like, at first I was like, you know how most of the time a writer just kind of makes note of the skin tone like one time.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, and you know what to picture, but it's very, very frequent how often she has to make note of it. And I was like, are you doing it because you want to remind us that you're being diverse?
It kind of seems
because that's how it comes
across.
across to me.
Yeah.
I was like, how many times am I going to be reminded that Kieran's brown, that he has brown skin?
Yeah.
How many times are you going to remind me? Because
I don't know, man.
If it wasn't so frequent, I'd be like, okay. But it's like her go-to descriptor.
Brown.
Interesting. Or dark skin, or I can't remember all her descriptors. But it's just so frequent she has to make note of it. And I was like, I'm white. I am whiter than white. I am so fucking white.
She's Scottish and Swedish. She's pretty freaking white.
I am Edward fucking Cullen. I sparkle in the sunlight. So obviously I don't know shit about what I'm talking about, but I was just noting it and I was like,
weird.
It's weird, especially because it's only for the people of color.
Yeah.
As far as I can remember. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't like that.
But she never really makes note of Poppy's skin tone that I can recall. But she'll make note that Castile is a couple shades darker, and she'll make note that the color drained from Vanetta's brown skin. And I'm like,
Yeah, but then she also likes to share a lot of art that has what really tan white guy Castile.
It's the same thing as the Bat Boys from ACOTAR. It's the same thing as Cassian and Reese and Azriel.
The amount of times people have given the Bat Boys different ethnicities to me proves is not good writing.
The proof is in this one sentence where Feyre notes that Reese is tanned, and when she meets him in the Night Court, and she notes that must be because he spent 50 years underground and was very pale. Yeah,
guys, I'm gonna give you a little inside take from being a person of color. If I stayed inside, which I did for during this pandemic, 3 fucking years, I'm sorry to note, me and Ashley are not the same color.
Ladies and gentlemen, she is not Edward Cullen.
She did not turn white.
You know what I think about sometimes? This is so kind of off topic. You haven't seen Vampires Suck, have you?
No, and I want to.
Okay, so the one dude, the one black guy that plays Laurent, they covered him in like glitter. Oh, no. like white glitter as like a parody on the fact that it's very it's
very racist.
It makes me laugh every time I see it. It's so fucking funny. Like is that what everyone's assuming?
Yeah. I've heard that the Bat Boys are indigenous. I've heard that the Bat Boys are South Asian. I've heard that the Bat Boys were black. I've heard that the Bat Boys are Arab. I've heard that the Bat Boys are just like Latino. Guys, they're just white guys. guys, they're just white guys that
train in the sun.
Definitely stole from South Asian culture, definitely stole from indigenous culture, definitely stole from countless other cultures, and gave it to white people.
This is such a hot take episode.
This is a hot take episode. All the SJM girlies, the JLA girlies.
We're gonna get in shit.
It needs to be said. And yeah, I don't know. It absolutely needs to be said. And I think we need to see that JLA has this pattern of definitely gaslighting people and being like, oh, there's representation. Actually,
and we were talking about this because Kieran's my favorite character in that series. I love him so much.
As you should.
My little baby Wolven. But as you pointed out to me, his character, the whole point of his fucking character is to serve these 2 white people.
Uh-huh.
He's he's bonded to Castile and it's his life over Castile's.
Literally a servant.
And then he's bonded to Poppy, his life over Poppy's. And then he becomes their advisor to the crown. So now he's serving the king and queen.
I know this has been said, and like I know a lot of people are like, it's such a reach. It's not a reach, guys. JLA literally wrote in the first book, the only two people of color, the only two black characters, she named Tawny, which if you didn't know is another word for brown, and Kieran, which, you know, Kieran's a normal name, but if it wasn't paired with Tawny, we wouldn't know. You know, we wouldn't have sus vibes. But Kieran in Irish means black.
Doesn't it mean little brown boy?
It means little black boy, yeah.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, what's she gonna do next? Name a character Maureen? Does she have a character named Maureen?
No.
Okay. Well, Maureen also needs little Black Mary. So.
Oh my God.
Irish people.
Crazy.
But it's just like, dude, the racism is prevalent, and this one black character that you have, this one main black character. Their whole purpose is to serve white people. Their whole story revolves around white people. Their whole, like, they have no agency. Everything is about these two white people. And that is just not how you write.
No.
No, that's not how you handle diversity at all.
No.
Big no. You know, like, that was a big problem with Throne of Glass and, like, Nehemia and, like...
Yeah.
You know, her whole purpose was to further Aelin's plot. Like,
her whole purpose was to further Aelin's plot, and that,
yeah, it's not a good look. So now going into this present controversy, people are really pissed off because she wrote this whole. You actually read it, so why don't you go into like the Facebook post?
So, the day the book came out, a lot of controversy started, a lot of drama. And I was very surprised because I was aware that people had read the arc and had enjoyed the arc. So I was looking forward to it. I was like, well, people seem to like it. So that means it's, you know, whatever. So then all this controversy started happening. And she wrote this whole Facebook post saying that people were sending her death threats. They were sending her suspicious packages to her home because they weren't happy with
Something
joining.
that happened in the bedroom.
Something that, yeah, basically the joining and that whole sex scene. And so I was really surprised. And I went to you and I was telling you all about it because I was staying off the internet. I didn't want to be spoiled for this book. And you were like, even you were like, Kate, over a sex scene, this seems like I was so surprised
it was also
at how
so strange to me because, guys, like, heads up, I only read the first book. I've never read any of the other books that have come out because I decided to like remove myself from this whole situation. But I know everything that's going on kind of because like just being in the book space, you would just know.
Yeah, you just kind of know.
And I'm like, wait, they're upset about the joining? Like, isn't that like very common knowledge?
Because I was surprised. I was like, how could people be surprised? It's mentioned in the second book. It is mentioned again in the third book. So you know it's fucking coming.
Yeah.
So I was like, how can people be so angry over a single scene?
Ridiculous.
But then that's not what they were fully angry about. And like, I don't know if this counts as it being spoilery. I think it might.
It might be.
It might. So here's a light spoiler warning.
Yeah.
For
just skip like maybe 2 minutes ahead.
Yeah, just 2 minutes ahead.
Yeah.
JLA introduces what she attempts to introduce is a polyamorous relationship.
What she claims is a polyamorous relationship.
What she claims is between Castile, Poppy, and Kieran. However, the reason people were angry was because they didn't want this polyamorous relationship. They didn't want to read about a polyamorous relationship. Instead of being angry about the fact that the polyamorous relationship wasn't handled properly.
It wasn't even a polyamorous relationship.
It's not a poly relationship. It's a relationship between
two people and then an extra guy is
and
involved.
an extra guy is there.
Yeah.
And
there's no consent involved in any of it.
It was assumed consent, I would argue.
Which is garbage.
Which is bullshit.
Yeah.
Like we said, if there's no yes, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And then the whole emotional cheating
of
it. Which, like, I was reading it, and I didn't know that there was emotional cheating in it, because, like I said, I was staying off the internet.
Yeah.
And I felt uncomfortable. I was like, what? Like, you, what?
Well, that's like, I feel like we talked about this kind of in like, not that we knew what was going to happen, but we essentially kind of talked about it in the last episode where we were just like, well, if Cass and Poppy are each other's one person,
Yeah.
why is there another person involved, and how does this make any sense?
Unless they're all mates
in love with each other,
in love with each other, that's not what this
polyamory.
is. It's not polyamory. Like, I was even thinking to myself, I was like, if Castile was Nick, if Castile was my boyfriend and I was Poppy,
I'm Kieran.
never, and Annabelle was Kieran, I would never, like, I just can't, I couldn't imagine emotionally
loving someone else.
In that way. Cause like, they don't do anything sexual
until the joining.
But that's like 3 people consenting. Yeah. That's different. It was just the emotional attraction they had to one another, and they even talk about it. And they're like, we're like, what kind of love is this? And they admit that it's not a familial love. They admit that it's not a friend love. It's not even a romantic love. It's just something that goes deeper. They say it just goes deeper.
That's
it's different
way too intense, man.
She goes like, it's different than Castile and I's love. And I was like, then what is it? Like, just be blunt.
Yeah.
Because I need to know if this is weird. Because it's getting weird.
It's getting weird.
He like will like brush her hair back, touch her cheek, or like, whatever.
Very intimate things to do.
He spoons her one night.
What the fuck?
And what's crazy is she makes a point to note that every night that Castile is away, Kieran sleeps in his woven form beside her.
Okay.
As like a protection thing. Sure. Fine. But this one night, I'm not going to give a spoiler, but this one night that she like, this thing happens that's necessary. It's not cheating. It's not sexual. It's just, well, it was kind of, but it wasn't. Because I don't want to spoil. He sleeps in his woven form, or not in his woven form, in his human form beside her. Like, I'm pretty sure they spoon. Ooh. And I was like, like I've slept in beds with other people.
Yeah.
Like I shared a bed when I was traveling.
Yeah.
I was not spooning other people.
No. Especially after
something that was very, very intimate.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
It just, and the thing is when Castile comes back into the picture, Kieran and Poppy still continue exactly as they are, exactly as they have been. It doesn't seem to bug Castile, but still, I was like, in front of your man?
Yeah.
In front of your fucking man?
No, that's just, there's no one, and like, also, isn't Castile like being like tortured and shit?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? And these two are like making googly eyes at each other.
And you know what? I was crushed because I loved their friendship. I think because that's Grumpy X Sunshine.
Yeah.
Kieran versus Poppy, Grumpy X Sunshine.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And I loved their friendship. And so when I opened The War of Two Queens and suddenly this was more, I was like, what the fuck?
No, and also what I've heard, like I really got deep into this controversy, guys.
Because I couldn't get into it, I had Annabelle get into it.
She's like, tell me what happened, and I'm like, okay. And I was like going in deep on TikTok, and a couple people mentioned like Castile is gone and Kieran kind of becomes him.
There's literally a line where Poppy dismisses Kieran.
Yeah.
And her friend Tawny goes, why does he act like he's your husband? Because he's very protective of her.
Yeah.
And I get it. Everyone feels like they have to protect Poppy, but Poppy is virtually, doesn't need that protection. I almost spoiled. She doesn't need the fucking protection.
Yeah.
And so I don't know.
I like how we're going into a full-on review of this book. But,
I know.
There's a lot of reasons why readers were pissed.
Yeah, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
But again, like we said, it felt kind of displaced.
Yes.
That anger. It just, like, no one talks about how these characters, whether it be Kieran or Tawny or any other person of color in this book series, are literally just there to be there.
Yeah.
Or they're there to serve
the
white
representation
people.
tick box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were more, and the fact that I noticed this tells me that it wasn't really present in the other books, but there were more gay characters.
Interesting.
Like, you find out one character, there was a lesbian couple, there was a gay couple. And they were...
It took her till book 4 to join
Yeah. And they were side characters that have been around for a hot minute. Mm-hmm. But I don't know.
It just seemed like, from what I saw, it seemed like a lot of the reader anger was not coming from a bad place. Sure, a lot of the Goodreads reviews were fucking
They
way
were
out of left
very
field.
serious. Like I saw one Goodreads review that was a 1-star review, and it just said, "JLA, I'll see you in hell." Oh fuck! I was like, "What the fuck?" See, like I get having
That's
anger.
fine. That's like a funny bad review.
Yeah, but like some of them were like serious. Like I literally read one that was like, "I shouldn't have to read about a polyamorous relationship. I don't
Fuck
want to see
that.
that shit. They can exist, but I don't want to see that shit."
Fuck you.
I'm like, that's equivalent to someone being like, "Gay relationships are fine, but I just don't want to see two men kissing."
Yeah, that's fucked up.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
So, like that's how we say it's displaced, because no one talks about like the people of color controversy. No one talks about how the polyamorous relationship isn't even a polyamorous relationship.
Yeah.
They just talk about how it's there and they don't like it.
Yeah. But like, yeah, it's just like the anger was there, but it wasn't there for the right reasons.
Crazy.
But also JLA really gaslit readers.
Oh yeah, and now she's gone off social media. She's not on Facebook.
Jesus
She's not on
Christ.
Instagram.
Wait,
she's
did she
nothing.
delete her account?
Nope, it's still there, but she's just gone. She's not online.
I mean, bye.
I wonder if she'll continue, and I wonder how it'll. Know what? I'm sure it'll continue.
She makes money off these books.
I'm sure she'll continue the series. I just wonder how it's going to impact book 5.
It's definitely going to. She seems very susceptible to people's opinions.
I would say so. I'm like on the like, you know how everyone was like, I hate that there was fan service because of the joining.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of it is fan service because so many people didn't like it. But also, like I keep saying, it should have been not a fucking, like I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have been a fucking surprise. She wouldn't have put it in the second book and the third book if it wasn't going to happen.
I kind of saw it coming from the first book.
Really?
Yeah. And there was no mention of the joining or anything. I just remember like Kieran and Poppy having weird sexual like tension. And I was just like, oh, is she going to fuck him too? But I thought it was going to be more like a love triangle, not all three of them.
I wondered if it was going to be a love triangle when Kieran was introduced.
Yeah.
And I was like, Team Kieran.
Honestly, Team Kieran. Castiel's kind of a dick.
I mean,
but again, it's just like authors need to not be reading reviews.
I agree.
Like, okay, I understand we're all human. Like, if I write a book, if you write a book, we're like, one day at 2 a.m., we're going to get drunk and read fucking Goodreads.
I don't think I ever could because I'd start crying hysterically.
But I'm just like, it's not your place to comment on what a review, like what a reader says, what a reader experiences.
No.
That's just not your fucking place.
Like,
as a writer, your job is done. You wrote the book and you published it.
You wrote the book,
Bye.
you publish it, you walk away. Literally, like V. Schwab says it best.
Yeah.
Every time she publishes a book, she goes, "It is no longer mine. It is now like yours. I am giving it to you."
Yeah.
Because like if I wrote a book and I wouldn't go fucking read the reviews.
No.
When I saw, I don't know which author it was. I don't think it was Scarlett St. Clair, but I don't know why that triggers something, whatever. An author posted on Instagram and they were like, "We appreciate it when you tag us in your Instagram photos, but please do not tag us in your reviews. The reviews are not for the author, they are for the readers."
Yeah.
And I like, so now I never ever tag, like if I do a
used to.
review, like if I did a review right now of The War of Two Queens, I would not tag JLA in it.
No.
If I did a review of The Love Hypothesis, I will not tag the author in it.
No.
Because that review is not for them. I'm not writing the review
But
for
it's
them.
also just like there is a space. There are reader spaces and there are public spaces.
Yep.
Social media is not a reader space.
No, it is not.
You are, especially unless you have a personal book blog and you are just writing reviews and you're not tagging anyone, you're not using hashtags. Sure, go for it, go off. But if you're tagging the author, if you're at all saying, "Hey, look at my review," that's not like you're inviting that author to read your review, especially your negative review. Yeah.
I remember we were talking about that when we first started Bookstagram.
Yeah.
And we were both like, "Oh, I didn't like the book," and I said that. Should I still tag the author?
Yeah.
And like looking back, I was like, why did I ever think I should tag the author?
Exactly.
Because
it's just like, I don't mind being super fucking honest about my reviews. If I found something stupid or annoying or whatever, I'll say it.
Yeah.
But I don't tag the author.
No.
It
It doesn't matter if it's a good review or not. It's just like, social media is a public space. So if they come across it on their Explore page and the hashtags, that's on them. But when I post that review, it's for my followers and it's for the readers that want to read that book, etc.
See, what I do now is that I post reviews as stories.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to kind of start doing.
Like I'm like, okay, it's a story, and then I put it in a highlight so that if anyone wants to read my reviews, they're reading it. And if an author reads those reviews, they made the active choice to do that. But actually, speaking of authors invading reader spaces, did you hear about the book called The Night and Its Moon?
I've never heard of that book.
Okay, so it's by the author called Piper CJ. She self-published this book, and it was like a bisexual story. It was an allegory to her coming out, and
Cool.
it's a very close story to her heart. But she went on to Goodreads.
Oh, yes.
Yes. She went on to Goodreads and started combating every negative review. And then her editor joined in, and they were going hard on people.
I just can't fathom why anyone would think that's okay to do.
That's just not okay to do.
No.
And then she tried to defend herself when like the reading, like Book Talk literally was like, whoa, what the fuck?
No, I just...
Yeah.
What? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what?
And then she was crying and she was like, oh, this is a very personal story for me. And it's like, yeah, dude, then don't be on fucking Goodreads.
If I wrote a personal story, or even if it was like my first novel and it meant a lot to me, I would not read the fucking reviews.
No.
I will read the blurbs that, people write for it, whatever. But I don't want to... I know that there's... Like we have said 30,000 times... Take a shot every time we say this. Reading is subjective. Reading is personal. Everyone's going to feel different about every book.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if that book was very personal to her. That book ain't personal to, like, 50%, let's say, of the readers that read it.
Yeah.
So, like, if someone gives it a bad review, if they just didn't like it... That's like, there's nothing she could have done.
No.
There's no way to write a book that literally everyone agrees on.
Yeah.
And that everyone adores.
No, there could be books that like literally classics. Everyone loves this book. There are a million people who fucking hate Pride and Prejudice.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like, no. You don't see Jane Austen's ghost coming back.
Yeah, you don't see Jane Austen's ghost haunting your ass because you don't like
Mr. Darcy.
Mr. Darcy. Jesus. You don't see Shakespeare hovering over people who bitch about Macbeth.
I mean, he would.
He would, though. It almost makes me want to hate the book just so I can...
It's just reader spaces. Okay, like, I would like to define what a reader space is.
Go off.
A reader space is a review site. NetGalley, Goodreads, Storygraph, Notion templates, blah, 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 blah. Anywhere that is like your personal blog. Like, that is your reader space. You are being a reviewer, and that is for readers. The reviews, authors, listen up. Reviews are for readers, not for you. Critiques are for you, sure. And if you want to be the kind of author and you think you have thick skin, blah, 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 and you want to go and read reviews, that is something you do on your own time, and you can choose to grow from it. You can choose to internalize it. You can choose to not listen to it. That is on you. But you are not ever to insert your voice into that space. No. Because then no one will know if your book is good or not. You're literally bullying people.
Like, I would never touch that. I didn't know what that book was, but even if I did, and she had, like, now that she's done that, I would never. She just shot herself in the foot. Yeah. Because
I'll
now
never read
so
that
many people
book.
are never going to read that book. There's, like, writers who've published novels, they get critiques from proper critics. That they can read, because that is meant for them.
Yes.
But going on to Goodreads and reading reviews, that's a reader space.
Yeah.
And these kids, these people, these adults that are writing these reviews, they're not critics.
No.
Most of them don't have a degree in writing book reviews.
No, they don't know the right words to use. They're just talking about their personal experience involving that book.
They're talking about they're not critically analyzing this book. They're talking about their personal experiences.
Yup.
So, like, it depends. Like there's just certain people that, like me, who, like, I went to school to analyze literature.
Yeah, but
And
even
so-
then, you're not writing on your blog fucking professional reviews. You're not
No.
being paid to do that.
No. And sometimes I can see myself getting in a little deep, and I'm like, no one gives a shit. You
Yeah.
want to know if I thought the book was good. That's
Yeah.
all that matters.
Yeah.
And like every time I do a review on TikTok or Instagram, I'm like, hey, just so you know, this book wasn't for me.
End of story.
Period. I don't give a shit if the author comes to strangle me.
No.
It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Because that's how reading works, ladies and gents.
Well, yeah, there's also this whole thing on Book Talk. I love Book Talk, by the way.
God damn, so do I.
So much drama.
It's so dramatic.
TikTok is such a place of drama.
It's honestly so fucking good because like every day I go on my For You page and I'm like, something
What's the
new.
new thing?
There's always something new.
There's this whole thing on Book Talk where people were saying that if you don't have anything nice to say, then you shouldn't say anything nice or anything at all. And I think that's bullshit.
I think there's a way to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I understand getting angry, especially if you were invested in a series like From Blood and Ash. I fucking get it. But trashing a book isn't necessarily helpful. Like, it doesn't help me decide if I want to read
Unless
the book.
that book is racist.
That's different. That's totally different. But like, so, pick a book, Six of Crows.
Yeah.
So someone started like trashing that book. That doesn't tell me why I shouldn't read it. Let me know why I shouldn't read it or why I should.
I mean, okay, so I could play devil's advocate in this situation.
Why do you have to debate with me everything we do?
I don't need to debate. I just need to, say the other side because I'm sure someone's going to read listen to
100%.
this and be like, hey, but what about this?
You always win these debates, though.
It is your platform.
100%. Yeah.
And therefore, if you want to talk shit,
live your life.
go off.
Live your life.
Like, I love the TikToks where people are like, I know, like, you're not supposed, like, people don't want us to be like haters, but I am a hater to the core.
But those are like funny.
Yeah.
And they're done, like, they're trashing a book, but in like a lighthearted way.
Yeah.
But there's people who just like fucking lose their shit.
Yeah.
And
but I think that
that's
speaks more
different.
to them and who they
100%.
are as people. I'm like, clearly this
100%.
book affected you that much. Like, chill.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it's 100% personal preference because when I give a review, which isn't very often, it's just fucking work to film.
Yeah.
It's just work to film. Like when I give a review, I give the reasons why I just didn't personally enjoy it.
Yeah.
So that way other people can make that decision.
Yeah.
So if I'm like, I didn't like Invisible Life of Addie LaRue just because I can't quite enjoy a slow book like this or for this reason or this reason, period.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like, you know what? Fuck this. Fuck that.
I mean, if you did and it was funny,
That's different.
Let it slide,
If it was
girl.
funny.
Yeah.
But otherwise.
well, okay, so I came across a TikTok where someone was actually saying that they loved The Gilded Wolves by Roshni Chokshi. And then they went, I don't understand why this book gets compared to Six of Crows so much. And then proceeded to trash Six of Crows. And I went, you're not making me want to read Gilded Wolves. I have read Gilded Wolves
Yeah.
and I liked it. But whatever you're trying to accomplish here isn't being accomplished. Why are you trashing another book to hype this book up?
That's something I will never fucking understand.
Also, why are you comparing a woman of color's book to a white woman's book? Why does, like, there was this whole debate about like, why is Gilded Wolves marketed as Six of Crows but diverse, or Six of Crows but written by a diverse author? And I'm like, what? Like, it's just Gilded Wolves. You don't need to say,
need to do that.
Yeah.
You know the book Beasts of Prey?
Yes.
What's
yes.
the author's name?
I don't
Anya
remember.
or something? She has a TikTok.
Yeah.
And she is like the best. She gets into all the controversy. Like, she's an author. And
Interesting.
She gets into all the controversy. She's so fucking great. And she does it so well. And it's so funny. Yeah, Anya Gray.
Okay.
Ayanna Gray. Ayanna Gray. Yeah. She has a TikTok and she just goes in.
Yeah.
I think you would fucking love her
sure I
videos.
would.
And she's gorgeous. She's like stupid pretty.
Really?
Yeah, she's the prettiest person I've ever seen in my life.
Two birds, one stone. I get the tea and I get eye candy.
And I get pretty eye candy. Yeah, she's she does it really well. She got into the the not Six of Crows controversy, the
From Blood and Ash.
from Blood and Ash controversy, and
Oh,
I was like,
shit.
I love, but she does it in such a classy way.
Yeah.
like she tells you how it is, but like I could listen to her talk all day long.
Damn.
You telling me like, look
Wait,
at this
show me-
fucking
she's showing me a
look at
picture.
this fucking woman. Isn't she fucking beautiful?
Her skin, Claire.
Isn't it so beautiful?
Her face is glowing.
Isn't it?
Damn.
I
I like that
know.
lipstick too.
I know. She's gorgeous. I can't. Whew. All right. Anyway,
Nick, Ashley still loves you. It's okay.
I still love you, baby.
But you know, if Anaya, is it Anaya?
Ayana.
Ayana?
Ayana.
Ayana or Ayana?
Yeah.
If she ever showed up at your door and was like, "Let's go, girly."
Nick and I were like flipping through Netflix last night as we were going. Like, you know how like they have like posters and
Yeah.
stuff, and I was like, yeah, she's hot. As we like were going, and Nick was like, what the fuck? And I was like, he's hot too. Anyway, she's hot. And he
I
was
love
like,
the
what the fuck?
bisexual like pipeline of like, I like men and I like women. I like
men, but like
question
women?
mark.
We just talked about this. We were filming another episode and we were talking about how like when you're bisexual, it's like women.
Yeah.
Unless there's like a golden retriever, fluffy haired gamer boy, and then you're like men.
Yeah, exactly. Any bisexual can
And you can, yeah.
claim to
I have a
man
fluffy
or woman.
haired.
Like you're just like,
Yeah.
I'm really attracted to women. I just happen to be attracted to men.
I have a fluffy haired golden retriever gamer boy to match my bisexual anxiety energy.
And I have myself a hot model woman.
And that's how it works.
And that's how that works.
And that's on being bisexual.
Exactly.
How did we get here?
Reader spaces,
We were-
hot women.
We were having the most serious topic ever. I don't think we've done an episode this serious, and then we're like, listen, Ayana,
She's fine.
fuck.
No, but at the end of the day, it's just like, it's your platform. You're allowed to say whatever the fuck you want to say.
As we
on it.
just demonstrated.
Yeah. It literally, this is what we're doing. Like, if you have a problem with what we had to say on the podcast, make your own one.
Which, yeah, but that goes into that whole controversy that was going through Book Talk, which was, is it appropriate for you to comment on someone else's like TikTok or someone else's
No.
Bookstagram and fucking rip into them?
No.
I think I mentioned that like I had people telling me I had a
Yes.
shitty taste in books, or I was a bad person, or like someone told me I reminded them of a book character they hated, so they don't like me. And I was like,
which was the book character? Alina Starkov.
that's fucking rude. Because I don't like Helena Starkov. I can't even remember now. I deleted the comment. Because I was like, what the fuck? Like, have your opinion. I'm always open to people
You
coming.
know who you kind of remind me of?
Be careful. Who do I remind you of?
I can't really say it because I think it doesn't make sense because I've never read the book. But I'm like, you kind of remind me of whoever Lucy Hale's character is in the Hating Game.
Why would I? What?
Because you kind of look like Lucy Hale. I think that's what it is.
Okay, well that's not what that's not what they're
you
talking
just
about.
remind me of like main character in a rom-com.
Thanks.
They're
Question
pretty
mark?
and they usually get the person. So
Why am I offended?
I mean,
you know that TikTok trend that was like, am I the hero or the villain? And you
Yeah.
use the cartoon filter.
Yeah.
I posted it and I was like, if anyone fucking says I'm the best friend, I'm
Didn't
going
a
to
few people say
Some
that?
people did, but the majority was I was the villain, and I was like, I'll take it. Someone was like, you were the hero, but then too much tragedy happened, and now you're the villain. And I was like,
nah,
marry
dude,
me.
you're just straight up the like
I
the
know.
puppy-eyed best friend.
I'm just a baby. Fucking rude.
Lily, I love you.
I'm just a baby.
Exactly. You're the side character that literally everyone loves and doesn't give a shit about the main character. That's who you are. You
Still
it's
stings.
like, no, it doesn't sting. It's a good thing. Oh, dude, like literally like half the stories I've read, I'm like, I don't give a fuck about the protagonist.
You telling me I'm the Simon Lewis?
Yes, you are.
Fuck. Simon Lewis becomes a vampire, so I'll take it.
And I'll be your Isabel.
I literally, story time. I literally got here today to Annabelle's place to record this podcast. She goes, "Can I get you anything? Tea, coffee, sex?" If you don't joke about fucking your best friend, you're not best friends.
That's like our main joke.
We talked about going to Whistler,
Fucking the gondola.
which is a village like 2 hours outside of Vancouver. It's a ski mountain. And we were like, when we get in the gondola, because of COVID, it's just your party in the gondola. Should we fuck in the gondola?
And then you're like, well, they filmed the gondola. And I'm like, free sex tape?
We can ask for it when we leave.
That's how close we are.
I literally come over and we're trying to get started on this podcast. I was like, I have a sex story for you.
That's like that's like most of your anecdotes.
I know.
Hey, did you know about this one sex story?
And you know what's funny is they're never even graphic. They're just, I don't even know.
Most of the time they're kind of sad.
Nick, I know you're listening. We're not talking about you. We're just talking about me.
Yeah, usually it's like, hey, well, this sex thing happened and then I was scared at the end.
I'm just a baby.
I fucked up and then
then cried.
But anyways,
Reader spaces. I told you when we started this, there was no way we could go the full
we're like,
podcast.
this is a serious podcast.
We were like, but if we do this, we're not going to be on brand because all we are is chaotic. Honey,
We brought the chaos.
we brought the chaos. We can't stay serious to save our lives.
No.
We lasted a fucking long time, I would say, though.
Yeah. How long did we talk?
It's been 50 minutes-ish.
50 minutes of us doing this?
I know.
Proud of us.
I know, me too. Aw.
Ended with fucking in the gondola,
Yeah,
though.
ended up with fucking in the gondola. It always ends up with someone fucking something.
Well, we hope you enjoyed this. I don't even know what to call this episode.
I'm debating what the
Reader
title's going to be.
Spaces,
Reader Spaces, From Blood and Ash
From
Controversy.
Blood and Ash Controversy. Because we essentially just went into full in-depth.
How to, fucking a gondola.
Honestly, I feel like some of our titles should change from like what the actual topic is to just like Annabelle loves Carden's tail.
Honestly, now that we've kind of established a brand,
Yeah.
it might as well.
Just be like, tails, yay or nay?
Tails? Question mark. Wrap around my throat? Question mark.
Kinks, do we have them?
Yes.
Yes. But we've established mummification as one.
I mean, to each their own, but what?
I mean,
What?
is it the thought of undressing someone? Or is it because you hate your partner's face so much that you don't want to see a literal inch of their skin?
Is it like because they're bound like that, they can't move, they can't see anything? Like, is their face?
Oh, you know what? Actually, I wanted to mention this from last episode, and I think I should mention it now. You know what? I don't know what the kink of electric idols is, but going off the myth of Psyche and Eros, it's
Ooh.
probably blindfolding.
We did say it was like rough, or not rough. It was like vanilla BDSM.
Because in the myth of Psyche and Eros, this is a very random episode, guys.
What the fuck is happening?
In the myth of Psyche and Eros, she's not allowed to see him. She's not allowed to look at him. That is his one request.
Listen.
He comes in the night, he fucks her.
Yeah, he does
and
come
she
in the night.
He fucks her, he leaves. And then one day she does look at him and he's like, oh, you've betrayed me. Now you must prove your love to me. Very melodramatic.
Listen, I was going to go home and work, but I think I'm going to drop the love hypothesis and purchase an ebook.
I've been thinking about it this whole time.
Okay, should we buddy read?
Yes.
All right.
I'm
Review
not
to
even
come,
joking.
ladies and gents. Okay. I'm not, you think do I ever, oh, I'm down.
I'm a whore.
All right, we're buddy reading. We're gonna buddy read
reading.
Electric Idol.
All right, I think that's our...
I think we need to end this episode. I don't know how we got here. We started off so serious.
So serious. We're talking about
Anyways.
racism. We're
And,
talking
like-
about problematic authors.
And we meant everything we said, just like we meant
did.
everything we said in this last half.
We stick by our
We
shit.
stick by our shit. Anyway,
That's our episode.
That's our show.
Thank you so much for listening. You can find me, Annabelle, at Many Weathered Pages on TikTok, Instagram, and Goodreads. And I think that's it. And you can find Ashley at Ashes Reads on TikTok, Instagram, Goodreads. You name it.
You name it, I'm there.
She's there. And don't forget to rate the podcast. We really appreciate your reviews. If you have comments, questions, concerns, please feel free to email us. All of our links are in the description. And follow us on Instagram and TikTok, both at Chaotically Bookish.
I never
Podcast.
update that TikTok to save my life, though.
We got to start filming.
I know.
We're also on YouTube. It's literally just
It's just the podcast.
it's just the podcast. We keep saying we'll film it.
We keep saying we're going to film it. We keep saying we're going to do a live, but we're fucking lazy.
We're
so
fucking lazy.
whatever.
One day. Keep an eye out on the YouTube page. Maybe one day we'll
just pop up and we'll do a live reading of Electric Idol
and a live 50 Shades. Well, thank you so much for listening to our show. We hope you guys have a wonderful week. Read a good book. Read some good smut. Fuck your best friend. And we'll see you next week. Thank you guys.
Bye, guys.